I'm Katy from Regent. We're an academic university in the middle of Regent's Park. My unintentional theme of today is that I was also brought up Quaker. So, yeah. So I'm the library systems coordinator. I look after all our library systems, including Koha. We have EBSCO, EDS, we have Talis. I'm going to talk about these things a little bit more. If you don't know Regents, we are a very small university. We've got about 3,000 students, and our main subjects are business, psychology, psychotherapy. We do liberal arts, film and media, and languages as well. And we've got a very big international cohort of students. And what I'm going to talk about today is something I'm doing right now over this next year, which is auditing all of the systems that we have to try and improve them, or at least find out what the team and other stakeholders would like to be improved. So, now breaks. Yeah, that didn't work for me either. I'm probably going to not need 20 minutes, so try and think of some questions. That'll be really nice. So what I'm going to cover is, what is a systems audit? Like, what does that actually mean? Why you should do one, or why you should think about doing one, how you should do it, when will things happen throughout the year, so like a timeline, how to manage your audit, examples of things that I've already found out during this time, and what I think the responses might look like. So what is a systems audit? And here's a nice yellow robot to represent the systems. So this is the way that I'm defining it, is taking a deep dive into each library system and collecting comments about potential improvements. So we will be looking at, I will be looking at Koha, which is a library management system, as you might already figured out. EBSCO, which is our discovery service, which we have linked in all sorts of ways to Koha, to Talis, to chat and everything like that. Open Athens, which is our single sign-on service, which is at the moment integrated into ADFS, which is our broader single sign-on service, which we use for all of our databases. So we have it switched on for nearly every single database. Talis, which is our reading lists system. And we have that integrated again into Koha, EBSCO, all sorts of things, also single sign-on, and it is mandatory for all our academics to have a Talis reading list. We've also done a lot of improvements in the last year or so with Talis and making it more accessible for the academics to use. SharePoint, which is where we have our website. So if anyone has an external library website, you might use LibGuides or you might use something else. We use SharePoint, and that is built by us in the library and updated by us. We have subject guides, we have integrated search, we have all sorts of information on there. And every month I collect stats on how much it is used. And then LibApps, which is we use for chat, which is integrated into Koha, EDS, and you can just get to via a link. And then LibCal, which is our room booking system, again integrated into our website. So not much to look at, just a few systems. Okay. So why should you do an audit? I decided this because firstly, and probably most importantly, I don't have eyes on everything. Yes, I manage all the systems, but I don't do everything on the systems. For example, I don't do cataloging. So I honestly, if someone asked me to catalog a book on Koha, I wouldn't know where to start, because I haven't done it in 2 years. So I need the other people in the team to talk to me about what they do with their time on the systems. And this has already proved incredibly useful. So talking to the collections librarian about cataloging, or about renewing certain journals through EBSCO and how annoying that is. I never would have known that unless I talked to her. It's a good way of getting us all thinking about improvements. So every day I get someone being like, oh, this is really long, can you do this? Can you fix this? Oh, I found this journal, it doesn't have a read online button. Oh, that's great. And I'll fix all those things as much as I can. But it's better to get general ideas and go to everyone. I need ideas, please tell me what your improvements are. It allows me personally to focus on it as a whole project and have it be a focus and everyone knows I am doing this over the year. So it's not, yes, it is my job, but it's very specifically happening this year. And it helps me create like a wish list for our suppliers. So I've already contacted all of my account managers saying I'm doing this. And over the year, I will come to you with some sort of wish list of things that we might want to improve in the library. So how am I conducting this? And this is a scary image of some brains. So identify your key stakeholders. So this is people who work in the library, as well as library users. So that's my library team. There's 8 of us, and then 3 academic skills people, small team, but still very useful people to be involved. Also people like IT team, the head of cybersecurity, the head of student experience, and then all of the academics and students as well. People who use the systems outside of the library. So for us, we have the academics use Talus, but we also have people using our systems that aren't library staff. Some of you might not have that, but we have some of the other teams using our chat function. So the Ask Center use our chat function. That's our like student services center. And then we have media who use our who use Koha to do their equipment. So there's a couple of other people and academics using Talus. A couple of other people using our systems that aren't actually based in the library. Think about who you can meet in person and who's better to survey. So I mean, everybody in the library in person, sitting down with them one-to-one, going through everything. I'm surveying the academics. There's like 100 of them. It would be really mad to try and meet all of them in person. I'm also surveying the people that use chat outside of us. Again, there's a lot of them, but it's also quite impractical because we work 9 to 7, they work 9 to 5. It would be really hard to meet with them. But I want to meet the head of cybersecurity in person because it's a more kind of delicate conversation to have. Provide questions to stakeholders. So I wrote down a whole load of questions for my library staff to look at. So it's not just, hey, do you like the systems? It's like, here are some very specific questions. Like, for example, how do you get to this system? Like, do you have a bookmark? Do you go through a different way? Also, what are some specific things that you would like about the OPAC or the staff interface? I also start everything with, what do you like most about this system? Because you don't want to open on like, a negative. So I sent round questions way before I met with them, so they had time to like look at them. I created surveys, as I said, for the academic staff and the teams that use chat. And that's just, I sent them out like last month and they've got to the end of the year, as in December, to fill them in. They got loads of time. And then create a viable timeline, which I'm going to talk about now. And this is where I stopped having sanity for the pictures that I was putting up. And I just really like this bear on a chair. So, so from September to December, and I'm running from September to August because that's how we run our year. Collect comments from systems users. This is a bit we're in now, talking to the library staff, talking to people outside of the library, collecting ideas and thoughts. January to March is analyzing responses and testing anything that's needed, and also implementing simple actions. So if it's a very simple thing that I can change myself on, say, SharePoint or something really small on Talus or Koha, then I can just do those things myself and implement them. Also, just making sure that everything is down in a very clear way so I can move forward with it. April to June, write up wish lists for suppliers and contact them. So I have already contacted all of my suppliers saying I'm doing it, but I will contact them again and say, hey, I've finished doing this. Here's some things we would like. Here are things that are viable, and here are things that are probably never going to happen. So I know that there are some things that will probably never happen because that's just not how all systems work. You have to do certain things, but that's how we'll do it. And then we can meet in July to August, meet with suppliers if needed, and collect actions to move forward. And then further from that, next year, implementing those actions and thinking about how we move forward. So put in a little slide about managing the audit. You can manage it however you want, but this is how I'm doing it. So I use MS Planner because we are Microsoft University. But you could also use Asana or Monday or whichever Google Planner, whichever one you want to use. This is my Microsoft tracker. Meet with admin, contact, and it's got a whole load of other things there. And you can tick them off. Create documents for each system. Kind of covered up here a little bit, but this is the one for EBSCO. And I've got comments by who, as in the person, and then potential actions if I can think of one off the bat. So this one, ebooks, when you get to a certain point on an ebook, it stops scrolling, like it times out. That was Luciana who told me that. And I could say, speak to EBSCO about their reloading times because they might have like a timeout policy. Okay, here are some examples, and we've got some Koha ones here. So I will just quickly run through them. So Talus at the top. More customization, for example, background colors and making things bold. More than one person said that. EBSCO, sometimes mystery items show up that we don't have access to, and there's no read online button because we don't have access to them. How do we get around that? Because when I find one, I can get rid of it. But we don't have to do that. We want them all to go away. Open Athens is less seamless since we turned on restrictive mode. I don't know if anybody else uses restrictive mode, but we do, and it makes it a lot less seamless. There might be no way around that, but it's worth talking to them about. SharePoint, the discovery box should be higher up. This is our website, our front page, and many people have told me the discovery box would be better higher up. And I also do kind of agree with that. Lib chat. Chats don't save the student number of the person. So if you want to go back to them and follow up, you can't because they didn't save them, which I had never noticed before. And I went and I looked and I was like, oh, you're right. I'll save them. LibCal at the bottom. It would be good if certain users could book more than 3 hours. We have a 3-hour restriction on room bookings, but sometimes the academic skills team would like to book more hours than that during a day because they have meetings all day with students. It would be good if there was like an override for them and they wouldn't have to do it through me. And then we have Koha. So the top one there, I put overdues and reservations having automatic fines, which is from everyone from our team. And then in the OPAC, book information could be jazzed up. For example, symbols or customizable text or sizes or colors. So those are some examples. What will the responses look like? Cake, hopefully. So this early on is kind of hard to say, but I do have some trends showing up already. For example, people saying the same thing about the same system. This is just an example of one of my surveys, which is the Talus survey that I sent to academics. And this is like 5 being high, how happy are you with our interactive reading lists? And we've got like a 4.10, which I think is pretty good, but they haven't all finished yet. And one of the things that I've already thought about is next year, I'll create probably some sort of systems issues log. So people can go on there and put, got an issue with one of your systems on like a form, and I will automate it to send me an email. Okay. Going forward, I will buy this cat. Live with me in my house. Okay, so the end result, what I expect to end up with, a list of things that I can implement myself. So moving things around on SharePoint, for example, I can do that without any help from a supplier. A list of wish list items, some of which will be more achievable than others. For example, layout changes versus hard-coded changes that are just not achievable. People have already told me things that I know aren't achievable, but I still want them to tell me them. And then further projects that will improve services. For example, setting up a whole new profile on EDS Discovery, because then that wipes off a lot of the problems that we already have, and I just start fresh. So that's kind of what I expect to end up with, but it might be completely different. And that's where we're at right now. So here's Tintin, even though it's Wednesday, and any questions, greatly appreciated.